My name is Costanza Piras, and I would like to very welcome you all here. I am an OSINT analyst at Social Links, and today, me and my colleague, Ivan, we're going to talk about AI and to show you a quick demonstration in this context using our main product, Social Links Pro. Before starting with the demonstration, I would like to introduce you who we are and what do we think about AI. So we are Social Links. We are a global OSINT solution developer since 2015. We have more than 100 employees. Our headquarters is in the United States, but we have an EU branch in the Netherlands and an R&D center in Latvia. What do we do? With our groundbreaking AI-powered products, we empower investigation and security professionals to effectively conduct data-driven investigations. We have 3 different products. The first one is our Social Links API that consists in a suite of data extraction and analysis methods across social media, blockchain, messenger, and the dark web connected directly to your in-house platform via your API. The second one is Social Links Professional, available within Maltigo and i2, and it consists in an OSINT tool for conducting in-depth investigations across social media, blockchain, messenger, and the dark web in both in Maltigo and i2. The third one is a Social Links private platform, and it's an enterprise-grade on-premise OSINT platform with customization option, private data storage, and our widest range of research methods. You can see them with the QR code here. So what do we think about AI? In the last months, the world has heard a lot speaking about AI, and sometimes those discussions are accompanied by excitement, but sometimes by worries. Between the worried people, there are some common topics, such as will AI replace people? Will AI make it impossible to divide reality from fictions? And will AI help bad people committing crime without being catched? Those topics may appear to be realistic if we think that we are dealing with a very sophisticated, powerful, and as well relatively new software. But what if instead of seeing it an enemy, we would try to become its friends? What if we combine the human tag mean as a result of tags, action, and logical connection of bullet points with a tool that makes processes easier and take decisions based on strategical and very objective data? With those questions, I would like to leave the microphone to my colleague Ivan. And here you can see our products again. And with this QR code, it is possible to get a PDF about the OSINT Trend Forecaster for 2023 and beyond. And now I leave the word to my colleague, and we see each other later in a few minutes. Thank you.
Yes, Costanza, thank you very much for opening today's event. Hello, everyone. Pleased to see you all as usual. We will go through several implementations of our software and the AI-driven features within our software, specifically with computer vision and natural language processing. But before we go into all of that, we will do a very brief introduction into the basic standard core functionality of Social Links for those people who have not been familiar with our company before, and we usually get a lot of new attendees at our webinars, so that's why we're doing that. So as a simple possible input here, we have an email. Another comparable example, of course, would be a phone number or an online username. And we're launching an automated script here, which is called the machine within Maltigo, to gather all of the other aspects of digital presence connected to this specific user. And we are getting the first order of results then some of the properties of those objects are also being extracted onto the graph. And we get a more extensive picture of the digital footprint of a person. So what we see so far is an account within Skype giving us a stated location, also a MySpace profile, an entity from what is called SLISC, which is one of the parts of our product, the fact of various services being registered with the email, which can tell us something about the person of interest in question, an IP address, a Google ID, and Google reviews that have been made with this ID. And we can further cross-pivot from each of those objects into other types of sources to get more data and turn more of that into information. Yes, the QR code can be provided again. Just saw that question in the chat, certainly. Now this was done, and we do a few more iterations. We go through the Google reviews and extract the timestamps and GPS coordinates within those. And from those, we go to a broad location, such as a city or a country. Next, we go into the properties of this entity. And we try to go into the GitHub account, the ID for which we can see within the graph. This gives us an additional email address. Yes, we're going to go through the Darkal integration closer to the end of today's demonstration. An account to reveal them all, in a way, yes. And now we're going to do something. First, we're going to try to use facial recognition, which is the most commonly used AI-driven method that we currently have. And we're going to input the alias and a photograph of the person. And we're going to get more data about the GitHub account. So that will be quite similar to what we do within conventional social media. We will go to a separate graph, get the followers, following, stated email, org, user repos, repo start, user details, and subscriptions. So something like a social graph, but within the context of GitHub. Yes, this person is a real person. So it is not a sock puppet that we created for the purpose of this webinar, but not somebody having anything to do, obviously, with a certain case. So just a person that I picked for the case of this demo. And then we can further do the same kind of same or similar kind of thing from the other users within the network. Yes, we're going to get more into the AI-based features in a few minutes from now. And if we're talking about getting insights within a specific social network in a wide sense of that word, we can use some of the viewlets, some of the data angles available in many solutions like Maltigo, including it and other ones, to see which objects can potentially be more important and more relevant than other ones. So now we go to the next example, and this is going to be the first one where we will be employing AI/ML-based features. So here, as an input, we have an Interpol red notice containing a photograph with a face and a name of a person. And we're going to run a cross search into several kinds of social media sources using our facial recognition to find possible accounts of the individual. Yes, the recording will be available. And yes, everything that you see is legal. This is all publicly available data. Okay, so something may have been wrong on my side, so we'll try with another example now. So here, if we have originally a single social media profile of a person or a name and a face of that person, then we can use facial rec to find a broader scope of the digital presence of that individual. And we can start from this Telegram or Instagram account and run searches into additional sources based on that. Another way to utilize computer vision features would be object detection within the context of SL Pro. So here we have several Facebook photo entities. And if we would have a lot of them, then it would be quite relevant for us to try to see, in some cases, which of them contain some indicators, such as automobiles or firearms, which is what we are doing now. So whenever a certain object is detected on an image, a separate entity is formed on the graph, and a certain evaluated probability rate can be seen on the link. And those are the images where we can see cars and some other ones where we can see firearms. And of course, we can do other types of things with social media content. And AI methods are just a way to augment that. So we can get the authors of each of those posts, the people that have been commenting under them, the comments under them, the details, reactions, and reposts. And then as comments are already pieces of text, then that is something where we can utilize natural language processing methods to see if there is a pattern of a specific topic being discussed or a specific tone of voice being present in the message. So here, for example, we can see 13 sentiment objects that are evaluated, that give us an evaluation of neutrality. And 3 other ones that give us an evaluation of the tone of voice being negative. This gets much more interesting when we're researching something related to a specific topic, especially a socially controversial topic, but it can be used when researching a person or a group of people as well. And we can also try to see if there is a pattern of certain people being more active than other ones within the network or within a specific discussion. This can also be used, of course, on a larger volume of text from multiple authors centered around a specific topic, as I have just mentioned. So in the next NLP example here, we have an input of a very internet famous media personality. The text can be seen here. And we run a sequence of NLP transforms built on top of our own NLP modules, not ChatGPT, as you have seen in the last example. And here we see some elements being evaluated as not containing toxic or offensive speech, and others as containing toxic or offensive speech. And in total, negative 60 entities within the graph, positive 45, and neutral 58. So what we can say within the bounds of this specific data set, within its scope, is that the sentiment within the 174 Facebook posts that we ran the transform on from the previous graph is moderately negative to neutral. The next thing that we can do is take all of the posts that are intermediary entities between toxic or offensive and negative, put them into a separate file, and further research the author of those posts. And this is, of course, applicable to multiple types of use cases, not just researching the controversy around a specific person. And we can use the ChatGPT module to get a topical map, perhaps, within this discourse. So this was an example of using NLP. There was a question about Darkel as something that we could perhaps go through within the webinar. So we will go through an example now from a standard search entity. And this is, for those of you that have not worked with us before, this is an excellent data vendor that we also work with. It's an optional extension for our product. And there is a way how named entity recognition can be used within the process of leveraging Darkel. So we run a search into several kinds of sources using the Darkel integration from the input that you can see within the entity at the center of the screen. And this can be good for working with data from forums in what is conventionally known as the dark web and in publicly available data scrapes and data leaks as well. For example, the Brown-Forman leak, a part of which we are currently looking at now. And we can further use the other types of functionality that you have seen before that within today's webinar. And another optional extension for the software that we have been showing is the Social Links Telegram pack. And we will run also a brief example on how it can be used. So we're going to look for groups messaged in, and historical messages within groups from this user here. And we have some historical messages. We can filter all of those, for example, by year. Select a portion of those. And run further text analysis capabilities on them. To see what are the topics often talked about by this user within specific groups in Telegram, which we can also get using those TGPack transforms. We can see that the group where the majority of the messages we selected were posted in were in this specific group called QA Alliance. And we can see that the person seems to often discuss tech and web development topics. So all of this can, of course, be used in conjunction, and the specific course of action and sequence of using features and the logic of using them can vary very much from case to case. We have shown some general overall examples of using features and augmenting them with AI ML methods. So now we can go into a brief Q&A section. What is the programming language used to create this software? I am not a professional developer, but it's logical to assume that a large portion of automated OSINT software is built using Python. Do we provide training to use the software? Yes, we do for customers that have acquired the product. I see a question about which parts use GPT and which used our own NLP. In the Andrew Tate example, we relied mostly on our own NLP, and then we used GPT on top of the results of that. So it's possible to combine them. There is currently a poll, and which our colleague has launched, and we highly encourage you to take part in it. Is this being used by AML investigators today? Yes, it is. There is currently no community edition. And we have recently started getting the question for, are there going to be a certificate of completion after webinar? Currently not, but maybe we will implement this in the near future. Yes, the recording will be available for the attendees, definitely. No, the user does not need to create any kind of accounts of their own. There is an interesting question. Does this tool conflict with the data ethics or data privacy? Costanza, what would you answer to that? What do you think about that potentially?
I'm searching for the question.
Well, we can see it reads, does this tool conflict with the data ethics or data privacy?
It's an interesting question, I would say. Like, considering that everything that we can look in is like publicly available, we can assume that it was not private even before we reached it out with Maltigo. So I think, so yes, I think like the privacy thing, when a source is already open, is like the privacy was not already there, the content was not private, and we just find it from a source where it was available. So yes.
Absolutely agree with that. No, as we said just now, your own social profile is not needed for this. I see a specific question about how long has this been deployed already. So the company is working for 8 years now. So I suppose that would be an answer. What is the current rate of success in terms of successful leads for law enforcers or defense and security operators? Without specific numbers, I can say that it's pretty good. And if you would like to discuss how this can be implemented into your workflow, then we would be glad to schedule a call specifically with you. We also have some developments which have not been fully deployed into production yet, which we have not shown and not disclosed during today's brief demo, but are also going to be quite interesting. And if you want to know specifics and you want to see how this can benefit your work, the work of your organization, then again, we encourage you to contact us at a contact email that we will show at the end of the event, which will be quite soon. The same we can say for all of the questions related to pricing and so on. What is the efficacy of use against cryptocurrency tracking? For this, I think I'll do another example now, which I'm going to look for a minute. And while I'm at it, some additional questions. Using just an email, can I see all the social media accounts linked to that email? A large portion of them, and not just social media accounts, but other aspects of digital presence, using which you can go to social media accounts if it is needed within the context of your investigation specifically. Yes, we do have an API package that will not depend on Maltego or i2Analyst Notebook, and that is a product that we can offer to you. No, the search is non-invasive, so it does not leave an indicator that a POI can see. So just one brief example that we are going to do with crypto, and that will probably be the end of today's event.
Yeah, so meanwhile, Ivan is looking for the crypto case. I would answer the question of Samuela. Yes, I think it's just because they are not really used to this kind of evidence, but of course, we hope that this will change very soon. And thank you so much. We really appreciate it. The privacy question is very interesting, I would say. It depends a lot on how you set your privacy on the social media. But yeah, generally, we can say that if an information on social media is disclosed without privacy, yes, it's not protected, and so it's available and possible to find for everyone. To answer this question, it depends by what is available, but usually you can start your investigation from one point and then try to enrich it with more points that maybe you will find during the investigation. For the cost, we remind you that we're going to share a QR code, and you can require one of our service and there ask about the prices. If a content has a private status on the social media, this means maybe that is only available for friends. That means that we cannot reach it directly, but maybe we can do some operation that allow us to have access through other social media or other platforms where maybe the same information is not put on private.
Yes, Costanza, thank you for answering those. And now we have an example case here for involving crypto, among other things. And maybe this will also partially give answers to some of the other questions that our attendees might have. So at the beginning of this graph, the top entity here, we have a post on bitcointalk.org mentioning a specific Bitcoin address, and we have the author of that post, and a username is possibly one of the valid inputs, because in one Bitcoin Talk scrape here, we see a string containing both that specific username and a SegWit address and the Bitcoin Talk ID of the user. And one thing that we can do is to create a transactional graph, which goes more into the domain of the types of investigations and types of analysts and types of vendors who specialize in that, which is a very interesting topic. And the basic kind of methodology there would be clusterization, very similar to in-depth social network analysis by principle, and something where it's very good to work with graphs with large volumes of data. And here, another thing that we also do from this address is we run searches into other social media sources and into search engine output. And we find a certain repository on GitHub where a number of other addresses related potentially to this specific user that we have found, for example, from this string nullius at nim.zone are also present in one way or another. And all of those repositories belong to this user here. Also, there is another one, which could potentially be a false positive, from which we have identified another email address and something that looks more like a name here, and also a postcode. So that's an example how crypto as a data point or as an entry to an array of data points can be used and can be something that an investigation would be centered around. So yes, we hope that has answered your question about crypto. And there is another one that we see when it comes to fraudulent profiles. Does the software take steps to find and analyze these associated accounts in any way? Might it find fraudulent profiles of a user if you put in their real name? That is something that can be made much easier with the software. So the software itself can be augmented with AI and ML methods, and the software itself is an augmentation for the human mind. So by extension, this proves the thesis from which we started today's talk, that AI of any level of power, well, of course, it's a discussion. It's a matter of discussion when we come to the level of AGI, of artificial general intelligence, but that will be another thing entirely. It's something that is an augmentation for the human mind and for the human brain. So yes, it's possible to get to some actionable intelligence using the software that we were showing today.
I will share the QR code meanwhile. So if anyone has any kind of questions or would like to know more about our products and capability, you can use this QR code here. And as well, the first 5 people are going to get a 10% off. And as well, there is the PDF, since someone asked for it before. If you want to get it, just get the QR code. Okay. And yes, my colleague just shared all the links in the chat, so you can find them there if you haven't get the QR code yet.
From what I just saw now, all of today's feature can use in I2. SL Pro is also available for I2 Analyst Notebook if that's what you're using, and if that's what you would be interested to implement it into. And I see that there is still a multitude of different questions, and we would gladly answer them all, but we're quite limited in time for today. So again, thank you all very much for coming to our event. And if what we have shown has been of interest to you, then we will gladly have a more personalized discussion about how our company can help you in your use cases. Thank you very much, and we're wishing you a great remainder of the week. And we'll be happy to see you at our next events.
Thanks to everyone, and it was a pleasure.